this, so I'm going to let you hit record for us. So good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to GPN Technologies Mid-Year Webinar Series, Proven Strategies to Drive Your Practice Revenues to Record Highs. My name is Patty Warren, and I'll be your moderator for the webinar today. Before we get started, I would like for everyone to know that you're in listen-only mode. Everyone has been muted to reduce the background noise because we're going to be recording this event. You do have access to the chat feature within Zoom. This is where you'll be able to ask questions to the webinar host and panelists. And just a reminder, we are going to be recording this session, and it will be available by the end of this week. We will be emailing you a link to the recorded webinar so that you can listen to it again. And it will also be available in the Need Help session within Edge Pro. I'd like for everyone to know that we'll be placing a survey link into the chat feature for you to complete when this webinar is over. Today is the second of our series of 5 webinars, and the title is Easy Ways to Boost Your Optical Revenue. It's my pleasure to introduce our guest speaker, Mark Hinton. I know several of you know Mark. I have known Mark for many, many years. And Mark, I'm going to let you tell us a little bit about yourself.
All right. Well, listen, welcome everyone, and thank you so much for scheduling the time in your busy day to gain some knowledge that you can use to make your world easier doing what you do with patients. And next thing we'll do is, so I'm an optician. I'm also a behavioral psychologist, and I did my grad work in behavioral psychology and turned around and went to opticianry college after that. What I'll share with you is that I love working with, you can read this stuff right here as you like, but really I like working with private practice. I'm involved in private practice. My partner is an optometrist. We run a business probably not unlike your business. And we're going to dive right in and learn some ways to communicate better with our patients. I'm going to share this with you. Every single word that you choose to communicate with your patient makes a difference in whether your patient actually fulfills the treatment plan, understands the care plan, and in addition, remember this, we're all humans. We buy with our emotional mind, and our emotional mind drives us. So be imagining what's in it for your patient. Also, I'm going to advise that you've got something to jot down a note or two, and when you finish, you should probably have 3 really good solid takeaways that you can go back and share with the rest of your team, depending on what role you play within your practice. So let's dive in a little bit. How are we going to make the optician an expert? That's the doctor handoff. It's an elusive thing. We don't really do a great job with that. We're going to learn how to do a little bit better job with it, because you've got to wonder, why is it that most of your patients own 1 pair of eyewear and they've got a closet full of other clothes and accessories? Mostly we build the walls and barriers that keep them from making those purchases. Again, it's back to the words that we choose. And we're going to look at that further. How to hold your team accountable in the optical. So that's everyone. Accountability should not be thought of as a sledgehammer. We're all in this together. The importance of high margin product in optical, what that really means. We're going to look at that. Optical scripting and sales strategies. I always say, who likes a script? And often I hear crickets or sitting on hands. And factually, whether you like scripting or you don't like scripting, you pretty much use the same script every day. So the question is, when's the last time you really evaluated your words within your scripting to determine that it was really making a difference for the patient? When you continue to hear pushback from the patient, that's the time to sit down and really understand what is it that they weren't hearing that would help them make a better decision. So we're going to look at key strategies to boost revenue in optical. And I'm going to share this with you right off the bat. If you are selling, stop selling. Sell rhymes with hell. We want to help patients make better decisions about their eye health care. Strategies to boost your optical revenue. Lead and they will follow. Red Riding Hood figured out she needed something other than a fork, to do away with the big bad wolf. So she came with her big guns. There we go. Let's go with our big guns. Do you condition your consumers how to spend? Now the consumer is the patient and also that optical client. We've got 2 different businesses that we're running. And when you recognize this, you realize why Edge Pro by GPN is such an important, valuable tool for you to use daily, weekly, and monthly. I wouldn't practice without this tool. And I know that a number of you out there have this tool, but the question becomes, how much do you really use it to your advantage? Because your practice management software will give you a rear view mirror view of your practice, but that has already gone past and it's done with. What I like about Edge Pro is that I can begin to see trends happening before they're even happening, and I can adjust for those very quickly. We've got the clinical side, we've got the optical side. In our world, we are on separate islands. The word allowance, well, we're going to look at some of these words. I want to change that word, your benefit, you're entitled. You have to imagine that your BSP and your IMED plans in particular are not insurance. They don't insure the patient. And in addition, insurance is expensive. Your health insurance, your car insurance, your homeowner's insurance, they all come with high deductibles. VSP and IMED are not those. Therefore, they aren't insurance. They are vision benefit plans that the patient chose to purchase for, on average, less than $100 a year. So as you can imagine, if they spend $100 or less a year for it, and your exam is $150, and their copay is $10, they're $40 ahead. It's not insurance. Insurance is something we all buy, we don't want to use. Get rid of the ugly words and replace them. Allowance is limiting. You know, it makes sense that what you're able to say, and when they say, how much is my frame allowance, to say, gosh, when you find your favorites, and I'll help you with that, the ones you put on and you know you want to wear those every day, I'll maximize your benefits and I'll show you your savings. That's often enough. It allows. It contributes. You're out of pocket. Your contribution or your portion is. It covers. Problem with coverage, is that it means free to the person that's hearing it. So get rid of coverage. Let's see what it covers, because the problem is you're saying, let's just get what's included. You don't need anything else. So we actually fight ourselves with it. We create the walls and the barriers that keep our patients from making better decisions. Your benefits contribute. Your discount. We stay away from discount and we go straight for your savings, because discount is the action, savings is the end result. That's what we're going for. You're eligible. Eligible itself. Think about this. Some of you are opticians. If they've got a vision benefit that is frames every other year, often we'll look at that and somehow, you know, they're in for an exam that they have a benefit for. But we look at them and go, well, or we've trained them to say, well, I'm not eligible for a frame until September, or we tell them they're not. When in fact, with these vision plans, it's either a number or it's a percentage. And so play from the percentage, because frankly, they're entitled every day, week, month that they've got that vision plan. And you simply want to be sure that you're able to build that in so that they can have savings on the other pairs that you want to help them purchase throughout the year. Our practice, a very high percentage of our patients have 3 and 4 and 5 pairs of eyewear. Once they've got those, they can't imagine having 1 pair again. So you make it what you want it. And vision plans, if you're involved with those, it is the perfect way for you to help patients use those to purchase additional eyewear. Recommend, let's just not recommend. It's like if you want the patient to have it, prescribe it and express why you want them to have that. Insurance, it's your vision savings plan. So we're conditioned by, when you see something like this, a VPS service record report, patient coverage. And then we've got covered, and we've got frame overage and covered with an additional copay. Wow, that's just what I want to hear. Hey, that's covered with an additional copay. Well, everybody wants to pay another copay. Not covered, covered with additional copay. All of these words cause your patients to feel discomfort. Get rid of the panic, remove the words, replace them with better words, make a game out of this. You know, create something whereby people can list one of their teammates and say, gosh, I heard you say vision plan. That would be wonderful. And then have a little fun thing at the end of the month, have some drawings for movie tickets or coffee or Sally's Beauty Supply or something whereby you're working to get rid of these ugly words. I promise you it'll make a difference in your revenue, significant at that.
Mark, we had a quick question come in, if that's okay.
Yeah.
I had someone ask, did you say another word for covered was entitled? Was that your word?
Yes, an entitlement. People like to feel entitled. And so the answer is yes. I'm not going to use the words eligible and such and use any of the insurance words because we're not working with insurance. We're working with a vision benefit plan. So again, from a behavioral standpoint, they're scary words. They make people stop and think of money, covered, overage, add-on, allowance, out of pocket, all focused on money. We want them to focus on the benefits of extraordinary eye health. Thanks for asking that question. How good are your questions? I'm going to advise you go back and look at your patient history questions and your lifestyle questions and understand that many of those are closed-ended questions. Do your eyes ever feel dry or scratchy? In the exam room, often when I sit in with docs, it's, so how have your eyes been doing? And what you're going to hear is, fine. What brings you in? I got a notice that it was time. So better patient questions. How good are yours? It's like you want to have the patient help you discover what it is that they want to fix today. When your patient expresses to you or your pre-exam assistant how, where, when they'd like to see better than they've been seeing, they own it and they're more likely to fill the prescribed treatment plan. Sam, when you think specifically about your work, your computer screen, play, leisure, hobbies, which of these tasks are you hoping that Dr. Wonderful can make sharper or more comfortable? Okay, and what other areas could be better for you? And the wonderful thing is that many times these patients will express, I'm not seeing the signs when I'm driving. I find that light is bothersome to my eyes. I spend all these hours on a computer and my eyes feel tired. So get them to express it. This is a far better question than how have your eyes been doing? How do you wish your current sunglasses could be improved outdoors or driving? We're looking for an answer. They seem to be fine. All right, wonderful. What do you like? What do you enjoy doing outdoors? Because whatever they enjoy doing outdoors, you're tying to a retinal image, and we'll get to that. And Sam, what time of day do your eyes feel dry, irritated, itchy, or watery? What you'll notice is I'm working for them to opt out, not me helping them opt out by saying, do your eyes ever feel dry, irritated, itchy, watery? Assume that they do and make them tell you they don't. When do you wish you didn't have to wear glasses? We increased our daily contact lenses among glasses wearers in their late 20s and 30s by simply asking this question and them answering it and then getting them into a flex wear lens. What else do you want Dr. Wonderful to know before she examines your eyes today? That's a good question. We want to ask these smart questions. What other open-ended discovery questions can you imagine would help you uncover need leading to want? And that's what we want to do is we want to take it from a need to a want. Now, refraction, what and why? Well, ask your opticians. Opticians, you know this to be true. Just a little change, Mona. Not much change, minimal change. And generally speaking, if they're not given permission and they're told it's a little change, I, myself, and many opticians and also my team in the past has heard the patient, particularly a woman, say, well, I guess I can't get glasses today. There was only a little change. They need justification and they need reason and they need an invitation. It would make more sense that what we would do is assume that everybody wants 2 or 3 pairs of glasses and say, great news, Pat, your prescription is stable today. You can continue to wear these glasses along with your new glasses that you choose. Make the patient say no instead of helping them.
I'm going to tell you, I'm guilty of doing that myself, of saying, there's no change today or your prescription didn't change. I'm guilty.
Yeah. The key word to replace is stable. It's stable. You get to continue to wear these. What were you hoping for in a new frame? So we're going to set them up. We're going to go a little deeper into that. And Patty, thanks for sharing that. I think, listen, everything that I'm sharing with you is stuff that I did in the past that I recognized didn't work. And I needed to go back and think about, well, what are the things that I say that could work better? I need to be prepared to overcome patient objections. Doctor-driven, protect and preserve, prescribe with why. If you've got a retinal image up there, frankly, it's not to go through all of the healthy parts of the eye with the patient because they can't remember it after they left anyway. It really makes sense to say, good news, I don't see anything that concerns me. The eye looks healthy here. I want to zero in on this little spot right here called your macula. And it's important that we do that. And the reason is because when you zoom in on the macula, now you're able to prescribe. Makes sense that what I'm doing is saying, this is your macula. This little spot here is the reason why you're able to live your life independently, to watch TV, to drive, to look at pictures, to read, to compute, all of those things. Without this little spot, you lose your independence. I don't want that for you. So I'd like for you and I to make a smart plan so that when you see me 366 days from today, and I review these images with you again and we compare them, I don't see any sun damage. And the way we do that is two-pronged approach. Your clear-only lenses that you've been wearing provide you with absolutely no protection against the harmful effects of sunlight that lead to sun damage. So I'm going to prescribe what's called a light adaptive lens that darkens when you step outdoors and fades to clear when you come back in. In addition, also, your sunglasses, because I want sunglasses for you that will filter all of the bad light that can lead to sun damage over time. But I also want to eliminate the blinding glare that can lead to an increase in the probability of an accident when you're out driving. So does it make sense that we have this plan in place? And my doctors are very good at asking the patient, does it make sense that we have this plan in place? When the patient says, I've got another question, great, we answer it. We don't make an assumption. More often the patient says yes. When you put it like that, it does make sense. And once they say it makes sense, they've made a verbal agreement with you and they're more likely to fill that. In the US, our sunglasses are at somewhere between 6 and 9%. There really is no reason why we couldn't get somewhere north of 30. We're always at about 37, 8%. Other clients that I work with will call me monthly and go, what percentage were your RX sun? And then they love to be able to say, I beat you by 2%. So, we just simply are passive in the exam room. Do you wear good sunglasses? Be sure you're wearing good sunglasses. And then opticians say, hey, did you want to think about some sunglasses today? We've got a great deal. And the problem with it, it doesn't express to the patient anything other than they've got a great deal and they want to sell another pair of sunglasses. So what you begin to realize is that the doctors are on one island, the techs asking questions before the exam, pre-exam, are on another island, and the opticians are on yet another island. So can you all get on the same island and know what each is saying to the patient? Now,
so Mark, I've got a great question that's kind of coming in, and it's just exactly on what you were talking about. What's the best way for everybody to get on the same page? Especially if the doctor's saying one thing, and then the opticians are almost talking the patients out of it when they go out into the dispensary.
Well, thank you for that, Patty. And whoever asked that question, it's a very smart question. To get on the same page, I have to know what the doctor is saying and what the doctor is prescribing. So I'm going to give you a hint right off the bat. It does never make sense to say, this is my optician, Pat. Pat, we talked about blah, blah, blah. Pat, we discussed blah, blah, blah. And patient name, Pat is going to help you and answer any of your questions and explain whatever you need explained. They made the appointment with the doctor. So they expect the doctor to tell them what's going to solve the issues for them. The doctor is the one that actually is in charge of telling the patient, here's what we discovered today. Here's the way we can fix this for you. And the why is what fixes it. It's either to avoid something bad or it's to gain a better circumstance. And then the buy-in of the patient, at which point it simply makes sense. The doctor says, this is Pat, my optician. Pat's going to be sure that your lenses and your glasses are a match to these exam test lenses. Now, Pat, Don's eyes show no signs of sun damage today when I view the internal eye, and we want to keep it that way because Don and I have an agreement that when he sees me again next year, there's no sun damage. So Don, Pat's going to make sure that there is no sun damage that's going to enter your eyes through the new sunglasses that you're going to have that are going to filter out all of the bad light. And that, now we're speaking the same language. Now the optician goes and has a seat and mimics what the doctor just said, and we've helped the patient make a better decision rather than confusing them with, did the doctor say to you anything about, have you ever heard of? Let me explain, if you were thinking you wanted, have you ever considered, would you be interested in? So you begin to get the point, and I think that'll answer that pretty clearly for probably anybody that's interested in how you get on the same island.
It most definitely did, because that sometimes is what happens, I think, is that, you know, we don't exactly know what the other one's saying, and I love the handoff like that. Thank you.
You're welcome. Listen, happened a long time ago when the optometrist used to do refractions and fit the patient with their glasses. And then along the way, what happened was the doctor decided to bring in an optician, or an optician knocked on the door. Now, opticians were merchants. They also sold and fixed watches and jewelry. Some of them were haberdashers. They were hat makers. And so possibly the doctor, the optician knocked on the door and said, hey, I got an idea. Would you like to see more patients? And the doctor says, well, yeah. And he goes, why don't you refract them and I'll sell them glasses? And the word sell came in. And then what happened was it just grew and grew and grew to the point where there is no other doctoring profession where it's left up to somebody else to make the decisions in what is going to be the treatment plan for the patient. Doesn't happen in hospitals either. Opticians fill prescriptions and dispense eyewear. The other profession that fills and dispenses something is the pharmacist. The pharmacist doesn't make the decisions on the treatment plan for the patient. The doctor does, and the pharmacist fills it. So when we move past that in the office, you're going to see extraordinary changes in patient behavior. It'll take between 2 and 3 cycles of patient behavior to begin to see that patients are following the treatment plan that you want them to follow. Everybody likes it better, and it provides the patient with a much better experience. So Patty, for the benefit of everybody in this audience today, we did a focus group of patients. We invited 15 patients, and we wanted to find out what was important to them when they came for their visit in the office. There's several things, but one thing clearly we found out is they would like not to be confused. And where we found out when we dove deeper into this that they were confused was the doctor said one thing, the opticians then sold stuff, and the patient was left wondering, you know, am I paying somebody a commission here? It's like, I didn't hear the doctor say I needed that. Why do I need that if the doctor didn't say anything? So when we discovered that, it really helped us hone in on what it was we needed to do differently in a better fashion. What we found when the doctor said, my optician is going to be sure, and when the optician said, I'll be sure, is it led to 2 things, a more confident patient and an assured patient. Make sense?
Yes, love it.
Good. So the retina. Pat, because your eyes are healthy and show no signs of sun damage today, I'd like to make a simple plan with you to avoid sun damage in and around your eyes in the future. Docs, opticians, you know, often what I find is if you find a pinguecula on the surface of the eye that could eventually lead to a pterygium as well, but you see a pinguecula, that's sun damage. You want to let the patient know, I see sun damage on the surface of your eye. Show me the sunglasses you've been wearing. And if they're cheapo sunglasses for 20 or 30 bucks off the rack, 80% of those have an acrylic lens, which does not refract light. It actually disperses light within the lens, causing internal reflection and poor sight. The other thing is it's usually a spray-on UV, because the little tag will say UV protective. And that UV doesn't flake off, it actually rubs off. And so now we've got a dilated eye behind a dark lens, and we're just allowing more sun to enter the eye, and UV as well. So it makes sense that you want to see glasses on patients that have pinguiculas or pterygiums or other surface abnormalities caused by UV damage and blue light damage. I'm going to prescribe. When you and I compare this image to your new image next year at this same time, we can feel confident we're on top of keeping your eyes healthy. Make sense? And guess what? Patients say yes. So our average is about 39 to 46% of patients that purchase their sunglasses same day. Remember, the national average is about 6 to 8%. I'm not boasting. I'm simply letting you know that this can be done, and I'm also sharing with you that I'm giving you snippets. When I work with clients, we refine it down, we get it to where we understand what it is we want exactly, and we grow the other pairs. It's not about selling. It's all about helping patients achieve a better quality of life. When that's the belief and the intention, the patient will never view any of you as trying to sell them another pair of glasses. The baton pass, the handoff, the case presentation and prescribing dialogue includes the patient and the optician. Sam, Pat will make sure your new lenses are an exact match to my test lenses. And Sam, give Pat a choice of the extra active or the fade to clear lenses. Pat, because your eyes show no sun damage, or they do, to avoid sun damage, et cetera, whatever the plan is. So when you see me this same time next year, because that helps them understand they're going to see you in 366 days, not in 18 months. To reduce fatigue and tension that you identified you feel at your computer, Pat will make sure that and then comfort throughout the workday. You want to have the patient tell you when do they observe that they feel fatigue working at their computer. Because whatever the time of the day that is, guess what? You've got a fix for it. So prescribe specifically, not we discussed or we talked about or she may be interested in. That's just a sales pitch.
So Mark, I have one more thing before you jump into this next one.
Sure.
Someone asked if you could just repeat what you said about the acrylic lenses in the sunglasses.
Yeah.
Would you mind repeating it?
I'm happy to. Several years ago in my inbox, I got an email, and I believe it was Jobson in combination with Vision Council that said that 80% of all imported inexpensive sunglasses the lenses are punched out of acrylic. They are not poly, they are not plastic, they're acrylic, which is a shatterproof material. Acrylic is not made in ophthalmic, or ophthalmic lenses are not manufactured in acrylic because acrylic cannot be construed enough into a material that will refract light efficiently. It actually disperses light within the lens, so we're not going to get good, clear, sharp sight. Sometimes patients who have tried Plano sunglasses and had a pair of these glasses will report, I can't wear sunglasses, they give me a headache. Well, they give them a headache because it's a lousy lens. It's got no AR on it whatsoever. What you know about a sunglass lens is that a sunglass lens without AR produces a backside reflection of roughly 30%. Now, your polycarb that doesn't have AR on it will produce a back surface reflection of roughly 5%. So when you think about that, it's significant. The why is because a dark lens like a sunglass has a tendency to have a mirror type of an effect. And so it will force more reflection off the back surface directly into the eye. Also, what was determined is that the majority within these imported sunglasses have a spray-on UV. It's very easy and fast to do that. And of course, the spray-on doesn't last. This has been tested too in our industry. So it's a challenge. The easiest way to avoid that challenge is simply, have your top line of sunglasses in planos. Don't ask the patient if they want to try it on. Just simply say, I want to show you something that absolutely amazes people. That's enough to create curiosity. You've got it staged. You walk over to the door with the patient, you say, put this on and see what you notice. And most of the time, when it's one of those really extraordinary sunglasses that you've got with the extraordinary lens, the patient says, wow. To which you reply, I know, it's amazing. Come with me. We'll make sure that this is the lens you have and we'll find your favorite style. So I did this recently with a practice that I work with out in Colorado. They increased their Plano sunglasses among their top line sunglasses by 73 pairs within a quarter, simply by doing the dialogue that I just shared with you. I say this, if you don't ask, you don't get. And often our sunglasses sit passively waiting for somebody to walk by and go, oh, I could use a pair of those. So get active with it. And of course, this is going to be in the recording, so you'll be able to listen back and write your own. Okay?
Perfect.
Good. So optical fills what the doctor prescribes. And somebody said earlier, how do we get on the same island? Well, I shared with you what the doctor is saying to the patient. That three-way, that handoff where the patient and the optician and the doctor are present. The three have to be present. Otherwise, opticians will share with you that the patient will often say, well, did the doctor say I need it? Should we ask them? Or I didn't hear the doctor say I need that. Or do you get a commission? So doctor says it, patient owns it, optical fills it, and I'll be sure is far better than, so did the doctor talk to you about? Were you interested in? Did you want to consider? So how do you choose just one? I thought this was the funniest slide. Oh my gosh, she's in her house and what is she going to wear today? Oh, which handbag? So I can already imagine frames that would look extraordinary. But I want to know what you'd change about your current frames, the way they feel, the size, the shape. You are not interested in asking them, what did you like about the frames you've been wearing? Because Edge Pro would tell you that that's going to increase the patients who are going to use their own frame again. And the cool thing about Edge Pro is you can look and see how many patients are using their own frame again, and it needs to be under 15%. Really great practices that I work with, they're under 6%. We want that because in your world of managed care, if they're eligible, entitled for that frame, and they don't purchase that frame, we didn't make money and we're not a nonprofit. So it simply makes sense that what we're going to do is say, what would you change? I can imagine frames that would look extraordinary with your features, Carol. What would you change about those frames that you've been wearing? The size, the shape, the way they feel? Awesome. And then what you do is you leave them there. You leave them there, you go pick 7, you come back and you help them purchase 3. Opticians, we tend to help narrow it down to the one frame the patient should have. Why wouldn't we actually want to narrow it down to the 3 that they would want to have and then use the vision benefits that they've got to help them buy them, plus the additional savings that we have for the second pair, which is usually pretty high. And then if they can't buy them, we're going to come to that if it's too expensive. When you think about your closet, your mood, your sense of style, that's what we're looking for. It's like your wall of handbags. So what we want to do is we really want to get people to start imagining. It's not a matter of having them try on the frame and look in the mirror and go, what do you think? It just makes it too easy for them to say, I don't like it. But if you pick them because you're the expert, it's going to make more sense. I wouldn't walk them to the boards of confusion because you just have to disappoint them when you get there. That one's too big. That one's too small. That one's too loose. That one's too tight. That one doesn't fit your bridge. That sits too high. That sits too low. That one's ugly. It's like we're just disappointing people, walking them to the boards of confusion. It's a time suck. It's the biggest waste of time. If they want to come, great. I let them come, but I'm still managing the entire encounter. Here, try this one. It would look extraordinary on you. Donna, try this one. This one, women love it. It's such a wonderful, comfortable style, and it's a beautiful shape. Yep, I agree. It looks terrific on you. When you think about your style, when you think about your mood, when you open your closet and you look and it describes who you are, look at this frame and imagine when you could see yourself wearing this one. Is it for work? Is it the weekend? Is it sports? Where does it fit in for you? When you begin to imagine it like this, what you do is you broaden out the scope and tell the consumer sitting in front of you, because they're not a patient anymore, they're a consumer, that they get to choose. There's more to choose from, and you remove the emphasis from the money. What would you like to change this time? What would you imagine? That's what you're going for. You know, captivate and fascinate with what they could have. Casual, dressy, sunglasses, the other pair, the computer glasses. I'm going to ask everybody this question. How many patients would prefer to have one pair of eyewear? How many patients would prefer to have 5? And then think about your closet. So paint an image of what they could have. Help them see themselves in multiple styles, shapes, colors, more sun, build a wardrobe. We've conditioned our patients to behave the way they do. They've conditioned us to only focus on their quote unquote insurance, because they walk in, they walk up to the desk and they say, I only want what's covered. Therefore, now they're cheap. We go on 911, red alert. They don't want to spend any money. Factually, they say that as a defensive encounter with you, simply because they're afraid you're going to sell them something they don't understand. Go to your favorite store. You don't know anybody there, but you don't need their help, because you walk over and you find your size and you're able to pick it, and you don't need somebody to help you with it. But when it comes to something custom like this, they need our help. But the fear is the skeptic. Well, do I need it? I didn't hear the doctor say I need it. Well, how much more is it? Well, is it covered by my insurance? If it's not covered by my insurance, I don't want it. And it's like, you just look at them for a moment. You see how they're dressed and their shoes are shiny and the handbag is gorgeous, and they're going, I want what's covered. It's just got to stun you. So, you know, I'm going to say something like, Paige, when I ask women to imagine their closet and their clothes and then imagine their glasses, they often realize one pair of glasses is too limiting. When you find some favorites, we'll prioritize them. Think about your shoes, boots, clothing. Let's find your perfect new styles. That is really an ideal way to set up what's going to happen next. Not, were you thinking about looking at some glasses today? Did you have an idea what you were interested in? Did you like metal or did you like plastic? I mean, you begin to realize that doesn't create the relationship that you want. This is about relationship. This is about trust, and this is about us being the patient's trusted advocate. You'll have terrific savings for whatever you like. I'll help you with that. Now, is this the way I behave with patients? You bet I do. Because I want to have fun doing what I'm doing. I don't work a day in my life when I'm completely in control of the situation. The boards of confusion, they buy less. Walk them to the boards, they buy less. Walk them to the boards, and after a bit, they look at you and go, I don't see anything I like. And you're stunned by that. But the reason they do it is it's too much for them to choose from. They go into choice overload, and their natural answer is, I'm not seeing anything. Here's a tip for you. Whenever they say, I need to bring somebody back to help me, they forgot when they made the appointment that if they needed an expert to help them with it, they should bring them. So when you make the appointment in your office, tell the patient, if you need to bring an expert to help you choose your frames, bring them with you to your appointment. Also tell them to plan to be with you for 90 minutes. 90 minutes? Why does it take so long? Because every year we're going to ensure that your eyes are healthy. We're going to take 90 minutes once a year so that we don't miss anything that might be important for you. Oh, okay. So the boards of confusion, they buy less. I think you get that. Lens packaging. Oh my gosh, it makes sense. You want to increase your revenue and also increase the amount of pairs that patients own. You want the patient to understand what's called comparative value. What the cost was going to be, what the cost is going to be, and how much they saved. I do special practice price, quick reference bundling in practices, and they see increases in their revenue. And the dialogue behind those would sound a little bit like, Susan, our lenses usually cost $724. We have them specially priced for $649. You'll save $75. Now, that's a self-pay patient. Susan, I see you have the VSP. That is such a fantastic savings plan. Our lens usually costs $724. With your plan, you will only contribute $279. That's a savings of $445. That must make you thrilled. Now, this is something for you to know. This is a one pair right here. Whenever I'm doing 2 pairs or 3 pairs, I price the pairs individually, but I deliver them as one collective price. So your lenses would have been $1,448 for your glasses and your sunglasses. But with your VSP, they're just, and your additional savings, they're just $690. You saved $433 or whatever it is. That's important. Don't price them separately, price them together. It's too many numbers for the patient. The reason that you're pricing them individually is in case they opt out of one pair, you don't have to recalculate it. You just subtract the one, ask them which one would you prefer now, and then give them a savings certificate so they could come back at 5 weeks and 2 days and get the other pair. Lens packaging makes all the sense in the world. It will fit in beautifully when you're looking at Edge Pro and when you're looking at the staff compare matrix in order to help everybody raise the ship, raise that ship, raise that and everybody wins. Care credit.
And Mark,
Yes.
I was just going to tell you, as we had discussed, that at the end we're going to kind of show you some items within Edge Pro. We can show you where those staff compare matrix were and that sort of thing, like you.
Oh yeah, you won't want to miss this. Patty is an expert with this. You're going to understand clearly how you can use the advantages of Edge Pro. And again, the highest performing practices that I work with around this country are in Edge Pro every day, every week, every month. Every Monday morning, opticians want their metrics on what they did the week before to compare it the week before that. You can't do that with practice management software. It's too cumbersome. So thanks, Patty. I'm excited for you to share that. Care credit, listen, make it easy, break down the barrier. If you've got care credit and you're not utilizing it, you should be. We did almost $250,000 in it last year, and it was all 2, 3, 4 pairs. Wow, I can't afford that. We just stuck them with sticker shock. It makes sense. You know what you're saying. Pat, I shocked you with the price, didn't I? Yeah. Well, I know you need and you want your glasses. We've been working together the last 30 minutes, and I want you happy. I have an idea to make this easy and stress-free so you can enjoy your fabulous glasses every day. We've partnered with a national company so you can buy your glasses stress-free over the next 12 months and with no interest. I'll work on that for you right now so you can imagine wearing your glasses in about the next 10 days. How would that be for you? Really? No interest? Yep. Does it hit my credit report? Well, sure. I hope it does. The only way you build credit is to hit your credit report. It's a soft hit. So when we hit, it'll be there and then it will be gone shortly, but it will likely increase your credit. That's what we find. And that's the truth. If they don't get it and listen, let's realize that the smartest people out there have care credit. People with money have care credit. And the reason is because they're smart enough to realize, I'm going to pay for this appliance, or I'm going to pay for this $3,000 bed, or I'm going to pay for this thing that I want. If they're going to give me interest free, I'm going to use that as a means to not pull out all of my money and pay them at once. So it makes all the sense in the world that you don't say, well, we have an option called care credit because they'll shut you down in a second. Hey, I have a great idea. Other patients love it. I know you want your glasses. What if you buy them over the next 6 months without any interest? And that way you get to start wearing the glasses you want. I'll help you with it right now. How's that sound? That's different. That's pure emotion. Now, give them a tangible reminder. Most of you know that if you have a favorite store that you shop with, they send you emails. Time to shop, time to come in. A lot of them today, what you'll notice about them, and it's not just one offering, whatever you're opening it's 2 different offerings. So think big on this. You've got a savings certificate, and it should say for that other fabulous pair you want. And then it gets into who it's to, the amount from. This is a tangible takeaway. They can't remember you after they left. They'll forget you until something happens to the glasses or they're loose and they need an adjustment. So we're liberal with it. In fact, when you fit the glasses, you give them one. When they come back to pick up their glasses, have that other frame that they liked so much that they did not purchase at the time of order sitting right there with a savings certificate. And say, remember this frame that you loved when you were working with my colleague Kathy over there? She shared with me how much you liked it, and she wanted you to see it again. Would you like to include this and take advantage of the added savings that we have for you? That's smart internal marketing. It just is. I want to go back to that for a second. When you dispense eyewear, typically you say something like, so if you have any problems, just come on back and we'll take care of that for you, which is silly because that's like you going to buy a car. And just as you're driving off the lot, the salesman looks inside and kind of waves and says, hey, if you have any problems with it, just come on back. Doesn't make sense. The other thing that often we'll say is anytime you need an adjustment, just pop in 5 minutes before we close and we'll take care of that for you. So I'm being facetious, but I've said both of those things in my career. I've said all the no stuff in my career. And the reason I love my career so much today, and I never work a day in my life, is because I am completely and totally in control of the patient journey. And my doctors and I and our techs are so tight with what the patient hears, and we're all interconnected. When somebody hears something 2 or 3 times, it becomes the truth. That's how you get yourself on the same island. Now, what I want to say to the patient, because they don't know that they're allowed because you're a doctor's office and you need an appointment to come in, at Dispense we say now, you've got the vision benefits and you can use them anytime you're out shopping for clothes and you want to, kind of update your style. Do it with your glasses too. And you don't need an appointment to come in and browse the new collections that we get in every week. Don't be a stranger. Then hand them a tangible reminder in the form of savings so that they leave and they remember it when they see it in a week or when they see it in a month. It would likely be a good idea to look at a woman sitting across from you and say, Sally, you got to have a red pair because every woman that's got a red pair loves them more than any glasses she's got. Here's a savings certificate. Come back in 5 weeks and we'll help you with that really fabulous red pair. The first time that happened to me, it was with Marcia. Marcia walks in our door and Tiffany says, hey, how you doing? What are we doing for you today? And she points across the room at me and she says, Mark told me I could come back and get a red pair. And I've got this savings certificate I want to use. Marcia bought a red pair. So did the other 285 women throughout the course of that year, the remaining 10 months, who had no idea they were going to get a red pair until I invited them to get a red pair and then gave them a savings certificate to get it. So 285 isn't going to sustain my business, but those 285 multiplied into other pairs of eyewear that the women wanted too, once they realized they could pop in and look whenever they wanted to. You can control it. You can say anytime you want to browse, just call us here and we'll put you right down and set a special appointment just for you. So you've got ways that you can do this. Use your imagination. A goal without a plan is just a wish. So my question is, what 3 things are you taking away today? Unless it's more, and then I applaud you. Get your at a glance in place by the month. Get your team delegated to help each other. Support it. Who's involved in it? When are you checking in? Daily, weekly, monthly. Morning huddles are the best. Write good scripts. Go back through and look at your scripts. Most of them just aren't good. And I can say that because I remember when mine just weren't good. I am so happy to be with you today. Hopefully I've given you some really good hot topics to think about. Capture more, add revenue, practice happy. If you'd like to reserve your own in-office team retreat with me, I'm delighted to do that. I can give you more details on it. You've got my web address. And Edge Pro, I am really super excited. I'm going to turn it over to Patty right now, who's going to show you a few things that you might be well aware of. She's going to teach you a few neat tips, and then we'll come back and wrap this up.
So we're also going to kind of have this time to show you some things in Edge Pro, but also if anybody's got any questions, Mark's going to stay on for a few more minutes and be able to answer some of your questions. So if you would like to be, kind of typing some in a little while I'm showing you Edge Pro. So all of the things that Mark discussed and getting on the same island, you can find all these types of things within Edge Pro. And you have a couple of different views for them. Everybody's got a different way they like to look at the information. One thing that you can do is come into your optical overview and you can go into your frames category. When you go into your frames category, you can actually select your by staff button. You can see I've got it sorted for last month, but this is a great way for you to be able to see how your staff are doing in your frames business. You can see that you sold a total of 184 frames. We're going to look at Julianne here. She sold 49 of them, so she sold 26% of your frames. You can also see her average frame price that a patient spends out of pocket is $110. You can also see how many times a patient used their own frame. She had 12. You can see your $0 frame sales. She had 23 of the 76 frames that were in our $0 frames bucket, as I like to call it. Julianne had 23 of them. Just so anyone knows, the $0 frames are people that stayed within their entitlements. Mark, you can be proud of me. I used the right word, right?
Yay.
So it's where they have we would say on their authorization form, they may have, it would say probably $130 allowance, or it covers $130 as some of the things that Mark were saying. But these are the people that stay within that and pay zero money out of pocket. So they don't get anything above what was covered or allowed or entitled on their benefits. So that's what our $0 frame sales are. Now, another thing that you can look at is you can also come right up here to our optical overview and you can click on your lens button. And when we come into our lenses, you can do the same thing and sort it by your staff. Now you're able to see, you sold a total of 232 pairs of lenses. We can look at Julianne again. She sold 59 of them. We can see where she is at an antireflective coating. We can also see how many photochromic lenses she sells. So you could also see your blue light second pair sales, or third or fourth, as Mark was saying. You can see what the percentages are for the multiple pair. And, we can see where she is at within the progressive lenses that she's selling. So that's the first area that I usually go to when I want to kind of compare my staff. If you like this view, you can also at any point on any page within Edge Pro, if you right click, you can hit print, and they're all printer friendly pages. Another area that you can go to is if you come into your advanced reporting. I know I'd heard Mark say that the staff compare matrix is one that he likes to go to. So when you're in your staff compare matrix, this is where you can see several items. We can see frame and lenses put together, but you can also see your staff members side by side. This kind of always reminds me of an Excel document. So if you like to view it in this type of a document, the staff compare matrix is where you would go for this. You can see your units if you want to see exactly how many they sold. And if you wanted to see the dollar amounts, like your total dollars. So you have a couple of different items that you can choose when you're over here in your staff compare matrix. So this gives you some examples, again, on some different areas that you can find things within Edge Pro when you're wanting to, create those healthy competitions, if you would like, with your staff member. See who can get the highest frame sale for the week, or the highest antireflective coating for the week. And, just have some fun with those healthy competitions. And be able to just, have ice cream parties. I know Mark's got several ideas that you can do for things like that. So, but that's some of the items that you can find within Edge Pro. And I'm also just going to remind everyone, that if you would like a training session on how to find some of these items, we do have our link right here at the bottom on the left-hand side for our training, where we can give you some training. If you do not have Edge Pro and you're interested in a demo, right here on the left-hand side of the page, I have got our demo links for us. Mark, I'm going to say thank you. You did an awesome job. I've got your email address up here, so if you do have some questions that you would like for Mark, we can, you can email him right here. I'm going to remind a couple of people before I start answering some of these questions that we've got coming in that the webinar was recorded. We will have this available in Edge Pro in the Need Help session by the end of the week. You will also receive an email with a link, so if you want to listen to it again, you can. And you're also in the chat session, you had a link for a survey. If you guys wouldn't mind kind of answering some of those surveys for us, we would absolutely appreciate it. So Mark, if it's okay with you, I'm going to ask a few questions that have come in.
Great. All right.
So we had one question come in about the gift certificate that you had. Is it better to give them that certificate at the time of dispense or the time that they place the order?
Oh, what a great question. Both. We're liberal with it. We want them to feel like they can have all the pairs that they want. We have established what our pricing is, and we play like other retailers do. We have our quote unquote markup. And built within the markup, we have our margin of what we can provide them a savings for any day of the week. Glad you asked that question. Thank you. It's brilliant. We know, according to the National Federation of Retailers, that 10% and 20% will not move the typical consumer. This is proven out when you go shopping at your favorite department store and you find an item and you never see 10 or 20% savings on it. You always see it starting at 30. So we already know that, so we adjust our pricing so that we can afford to give people the 30% savings, still be profitable, and excite them about having the 3 and 4 pairs. So we're always excited about that savings certificate. And sometimes they remember, sometimes they'll use it automatically at the order. Well, can I use this now for this pair? Absolutely you can. Oh, good, I'll do that, even though we just saved them anyway. And at dispense, we want to remind them. So when you have that other pair they liked a lot at dispense and you've got that savings certificate, I will share this with you. Don't ask, don't get. So we ask and frequently we get, oh, you mean I could use it right now? Absolutely you can. So we're liberal with it. The reason, very simply, we have 2 businesses. That's why Edge Pro is so valuable to you, is because we've got the clinical side and we have the fashionable eye candy land retail side. So use it to your advantage. Good. Next up.
I had another person say, any suggestion on scripts with the staff, especially when we have pushback from the ones who think they already have good sales experience? That's an excellent question.
I would use Edge Pro to support the fact that they're doing average or less than average. And understanding at that point the script isn't that good. I've got to ask that person too, when was the last time you recorded yourself and evaluated it? I would ask the question, what do you do when the patient wants a quote? How do you answer that? How do we answer the patient that says, I just want to get a copy of my prescription today? How do you help the patient? How do you reduce time? What are the 2 key areas where you reduce chair time at the dispensing table? Because chair time, frankly, is a huge cost of goods to the practice. And there's at least 20 to 25 minutes of chair time that we don't need to utilize in the optical dispensary. And that's explaining stuff to people. And my general feeling about that is if they didn't ask, don't tell. So, I feel like people who are open to learning, lifelong learners, always want to learn more in advance. So scripts, you can call them scripts, you can call them supporting materials. I need people on my team who are open to developing and making themselves better at what they do. Sometimes what I've found in the past is people are afraid to work with a script because they're uncomfortable that it's going to pull them out of their comfort zone where they live. You got to be uncomfortable to make change. And then it's a matter of practicing it on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. At the end of the day, Who owns the business? What do we want for the business? What do we want for our patients? So it's a good question. I hope I helped answer it for you.
So I've got a couple of more here, and one is, and I believe you might have said something on this at the end there, but it's where can I find resources for creating packages, and how do you deal with patients who want exact options within the packages?
How do I deal with patients who want exact options within the package? Well, one thing that we do is we have our best, our better, and our save the sale. So we don't option out. We don't have a separate conversation about AR. That's included in the price. And we choose the material index. It's a little bit like when I buy a pair of slacks, it actually came with the zipper and the pockets and the belt loops. I didn't buy the fabric, the thread, the zipper, and the belt loops. And thank goodness my pants insurance included the pockets. So we break everything out. And the best thing you can do is stop breaking it all out. They came to buy a pair of glasses, not a lens, a material index, an AR, and whatever else you can add into it. So it just makes sense. Make it easy. We've conditioned our patients to ask for specifically to leave something off or to put something in. It'll take some time for sure. Patients say, I don't want that smeary coating. And I say, absolutely, I wouldn't want you to have it either. I remember when that used to exist. Thankfully, you're going to have a clear lens, easy to clean, and you're going to see just like you did in the exam room today. We don't use any of those smeary coatings anymore. And you know what? It's like, well, is it going to be that smeary coating? No, it's not. And why? Because we don't have smeary coatings anymore. So look at ways that you create these packages or these bundles. The other part of that question was, how do you create these? Well, I've created them for clients out of simplicity because I've recognized that they need them. We're spending far too much time doing line item pricing for people, and then they balk about it. You find yourself writing this column out in the edge of the printed out vision plan form, that says what they're entitled to. And we write all these numbers out separately. When you bundle it together, you don't have anything other than here's the frame, here's the lenses, and you're done. When patients ask for a breakout, I say, absolutely. Your lenses are going to match the lenses you were tested with today. The lenses in the exam room are treated to eliminate reflections so that you see sharp and clear. Your lenses will also be treated the same way so that you see sharp and clear. The lenses in the exam room are really thin lenses because the thinner the lens, the more efficiently it refracts the light to make a sharp picture for you through your eyes and into your brain. Your lenses are also going to be the thin light lenses so that you have that same sharp clarity, just like when you were in the exam room. Is that what you were hoping for? That's how I explain breakout to them when they want to break out. I hope I answered that. You can go on the internet and you can probably find all kinds of different ways to package pricing or quick reference guides for pricing. And if you want it developed, just contact me.
Yeah, so the best, I think a good answer there for that one, we've got Mark's email address on here. If you want Mark to help you out with that, he can, as far as actual creating some packaging and that sort of thing. So right. I know we've gone just a little bit over here today, but Mark, thank you so much. You did a fantastic job as usual. You're always so energetic. I just love it when you speak. We do have, I want to remind everybody that we've got the links on the screens to schedule any trainings for your Edge Pro. For any of those of you who have Edge Pro and just want some ideas on how to do some of the tracking that Mark had talked about, we can help you out there. For those of you who do not have Edge Pro, we've got some links here on the right-hand side of our screen to be able to give you a demo so that if you would be interested in Edge Pro, you can find out about it. Just a reminder again that the webinar was recorded. You should be receiving some links by the end of the week in your email so that way you could listen to it again. It will also be available in the Need Help section of Edge Pro. And we also had the survey. I do believe I saw them paste the survey back into the message center again. So if any of you would fill out that survey for us, we would greatly appreciate it. Again, Mark, thank you very much.
I enjoyed it. Thank you, everybody, for your kind participation and interest.
Have a good afternoon.